There's a pain that words can barely touch, a kind of wound that bleeds in silence, that leaves no visible scar but tears your soul apart from the inside out. It's the kind of pain you feel when someone you loved, someone you trusted more than anyone else in the world, turns around and betrays you. The shock, the devastation, the gut-wrenching agony of realizing that the person you held closest to your heart has stabbed you in the back. It's unbearable. You sit there alone with your thoughts, questioning everything. Your hands shake, your chest feels heavy, and tears fall in silence because you don't even know how to explain it. You never thought they would be the one to do this to you, but they did. And now your world feels like it's crumbling beneath your feet. You gave them everything, your time, your loyalty, your support, your love. You were there for them when no one else was. You defended them, forgave them, and believed in them when others walked away. And how did they repay you? With lies, with deceit, with actions so cruel that they shattered your heart into a million pieces. They used your kindness, exploited your goodness, and treated your loyalty like it was worthless. And now you're left wondering, was any of it real? Was I just a fool? This betrayal didn't come from a stranger. That's what makes it so painful. It came from someone who knew your weaknesses, your fears, your dreams. Someone who had the power to destroy you and chose to use it. And now the trust you once held so tightly has been crushed. And you're standing in the wreckage, trying to understand how someone so close could be the source of your deepest hurt. Let me tell you something. This pain you're feeling, it matters. It's not invisible to the world, and it's definitely not invisible to God. You may feel abandoned, but you're not alone. You may feel forgotten, but every tear, every sleepless night, every cry you've let out in the darkness has been seen. And those who betrayed you, those who thought they could get away with what they did, they will face consequences. You may not see it now, but understand this. God does not overlook the suffering of the innocent. He does not turn a blind eye to betrayal, and He will not allow your pain to go unanswered. There is a law, unwritten but undeniable, that governs this world. Call it divine justice, call it moral reckoning, but it exists. And those who cause harm to others, who destroy lives with lies and manipulation, who break hearts without remorse, they cannot escape it. Their day will come. The weight of what they did to you will fall on them, and it will be heavier than they ever imagined. The regret they feel will be overwhelming, the shame unbearable, and the peace they once took for granted will be gone. Right now, you're in the fire, you're in the storm, and it hurts like hell. But hold on, because this isn't the end of your story. God will not only restore what was broken, He will elevate you, and the same people who betrayed you will watch as you rise, stronger, wiser, and more powerful than ever before. Your healing will be your victory, your peace will be your revenge, and their regret will be the consequence of their actions. Let's now dive into the truth about betrayal, what it really means, how it changes you, and why it never ends well for the one who caused the pain. Because you deserve answers. You deserve peace. And most importantly, you deserve to know that God will make them regret it. Let's begin. Betrayal cuts the deepest when it comes from someone you trusted with your whole heart. It's not just the act that wounds you. It's the realization that the person you believed in, the one you loved and defended, was never who you thought they were. That realization is soul-crushing. It's like waking up from a beautiful dream only to find yourself in the middle of a nightmare. The very person who once smiled at you, held your hand, and swore loyalty was secretly holding a knife behind their back. And when they finally stabbed you with it, they didn't hesitate. They didn't flinch. They didn't care. You keep replaying everything in your head, don't you? Every moment, every word, every glance, you're trying to find the moment when things changed, when they stopped caring, when the mask slipped, when the love died. But the truth is, they didn't change suddenly. The betrayal didn't come out of nowhere. It was who they always were. The signs were there. You just didn't want to see them. You chose to believe the best in them, to give them the benefit of the doubt, to hold on to hope, and they used that against you. That's the most painful part, isn't it? Realizing that the betrayal wasn't just a one-time act. It was a choice they made repeatedly. They could have chosen honesty, they could have chosen loyalty, but instead they chose deception. They chose themselves. And while you were busy loving them, they were busy planning how to break you. And now everything feels tainted. The memories, the conversations, the laughter, all of it feels like a lie. You start to question your own judgment. How could I have been so blind? Why didn't I see this coming? But don't blame yourself for their betrayal. You loved purely with an open heart. You gave them a chance to be better, and they chose to be worse. The betrayal didn't just reveal who they are, it revealed who you are. Someone with a heart that's been hurt but is still beating. Someone who loved deeply even if it wasn't returned. Someone who stood firm even when everything around them fell apart. Their betrayal is a mirror reflecting their true character, selfish, cold, ungrateful, but your pain reflects your strength, your loyalty, your courage. And now you see them clearly. You see the manipulations, the lies, the selfishness for what they are. And it hurts, but it's also freeing, because now you know the truth, and the truth, as painful as it is, will set you free. What you thought was love was control. What you thought was care was convenience. What you thought was loyalty was manipulation. And now, stripped of their mask, you can finally see them for who they really are. That clarity is painful, but it's powerful, because betrayal always brings truth to the surface. And while truth can be bitter, it's also cleansing. Let that truth sink in. Let it break the chains. Let it awaken the realization that their actions are not a reflection of your worth, but of their lack of it. You didn't lose someone who valued you. You lost someone who never deserved you. And that, as devastating as it feels, is a gift. Because now you know, now you see, and they can never hide again. There's a kind of pain that you carry in silence, the kind that no one else sees. You smile during the day, but at night you break down. You hold yourself together in public, but when the door closes and you're finally alone, the weight of betrayal suffocates you. You've cried into pillows, screamed in your mind, and asked questions that echo into the emptiness. Why did this happen to me? Why did they do this? And perhaps the most haunting question of all, does anyone even see what I'm going through? You've looked around and wondered if justice even exists. The people who hurt you are walking free, smiling, living their lives like nothing happened. They go on as if their betrayal didn't wreck your heart, as if their lies didn't crush your spirit, and you've been left behind, picking up the broken pieces, trying to breathe through the pain, wondering if anyone even notices. But hear this, God sees it all. Not a single tear, not a single sleepless night, not a single moment of despair has gone unnoticed. The silence you've endured is deafening to the world, but it's a cry that reaches the heavens. You may feel invisible, you may feel forgotten, but God has not turned his face from you. He has watched every injustice, every deceitful word, every cruel action committed against you. He has seen the betrayal, the manipulation, the abandonment, and he has felt your pain. When you were lying there, broken and alone, he was there. When you cried out, even if only in your heart, he heard you. When you asked why, he listened. You have not suffered in vain. You have not been forsaken. There is no darkness dark enough to hide the actions of the wicked from God's eyes. There is no lie clever enough to escape his truth. There is no betrayal so secret that he doesn't witness it. People may hide their wrongdoings from others. They may put on a face and pretend they are innocent, but before God, everything is exposed. The betrayals done behind your back, the words twisted to make you look like the villain, the moments they laughed while you cried. He saw it all. And here's what they don't understand. Injustice has a price. They think they've won. They think they've walked away clean, but they are wrong. Because while they are celebrating your downfall, God is preparing your rise. And while they are ignoring the harm they've done, God is counting every tear you've shed. Not one of them will be forgotten. Their actions have been recorded, not by man, but by the one who sees everything. And there is no escaping the justice of God. You don't have to fight for yourself. You don't have to seek revenge, because God is your defender, and he never loses. His justice may not come when you expect it, but it always comes in His time, in His way, and it's always perfect. Let that truth comfort you. Let it give you the strength to keep going even when the pain is heavy, because your suffering has not been for nothing. It has been seen and it will be answered. The same God who saw Joseph thrown into a pit by his brothers, who saw David hunted by Saul, who saw Job tormented without cause, that same God sees you now, and He is not passive. He is not distant. He is working behind the scenes, and His justice will not fail you. They may look calm on the outside. They may walk with confidence, speak with ease, and even smile like nothing ever happened. But behind their eyes, there's a storm they cannot escape. Behind the laughter and the public facade, there is a gnawing weight that clings to their soul, a shadow that never leaves them. Because no matter how much they try to run from it, betrayers are haunted by their own actions. You might not see it, but deep within them there is a battle, a torment that doesn't rest. Every time they close their eyes, memories of what they did come rushing back. The lies they told, the trust they shattered, the hurt they caused. They try to silence it with distraction, bury it under excuses, but it keeps coming back, stronger, louder, heavier. Because when you betray someone who loved you, who trusted you, who stood by you through it all, that kind of guilt doesn't just disappear. It becomes a part of you. It follows you. It corrupts your peace and robs you of rest. They may act like it didn't matter, like it was just a small thing, like you were just another person they could use and discard. But deep down, they know the truth. They know you were real. They know your love was pure. They know you didn't deserve the pain they caused. And now, every time they try to enjoy their life, there's a bitter taste in their mouth. Because joy doesn't come easy to the one who destroys the very thing that was good to them. You see, betrayal doesn't just break the victim, it scars the betrayer. They may think they've escaped consequences because you didn't retaliate, because you stayed silent, because you walked away with dignity. But their mind has become a prison, and their conscience a relentless accuser. They live with the fear of exposure, the fear that others will see them for who they truly are. They live with the fear that one day they will lose everything they thought they gained from betraying you. And here's the truth, they will. Because what is built on betrayal never lasts. It rots from the inside. They may appear to be moving forward, but it's an illusion. They're stuck, trapped in a cycle of guilt and regret. They will try to numb the pain to replace what they lost in you, but they'll fail. Because you cannot replace loyalty. You cannot replace a clean conscience. You cannot replace peace. And when the world is quiet, when they're alone with their thoughts, that's when it hits the hardest. The truth of what they did plays in their mind like a haunting melody. They see your face. They hear your words. They feel the weight of what they threw away. And that weight doesn't lift. It grows heavier over time. They can't undo what they've done. They can't take back the pain they caused. And one day when life brings them low, and it will, they'll remember. They'll remember the moment they chose to betray the one person who would have never betrayed them. And that regret will be their punishment. It will cling to them, follow them, and remind them that they destroyed something sacred, and now they're the ones left empty. Not you, them. It may not feel like it right now, but the pain you're experiencing, the betrayal, the heartbreak, the silent suffering is not the end of you. It's not your destruction. In fact, it's the beginning of something extraordinary. What feels like the darkest chapter of your life may very well be the moment that sets everything else in motion. Because pain, especially the kind that comes from being betrayed by someone closest, is often the catalyst for divine. It shakes you, breaks you, but it also builds you into something unshakable. You see, when people betray you, they expect you to crumble. They expect you to fall apart, to stay stuck in bitterness, to lose yourself in the chaos they've created. They never imagined that the very pain they inflicted would become the force that pushes you forward. that it would awaken a strength in you that you didn't know you had, that it would ignite a fire so powerful that nothing could stop you. Pain is not just suffering, it's a transformation. When you are hurt this deeply, you are stripped of illusions, of false attachments, of anything that doesn't serve your purpose. The betrayal forces you to confront reality, to look at people and situations for what they truly are. And in that raw, unfiltered clarity, you begin to see your own power. You realize that your worth never depended on them, that your value wasn't tied to their approval or their loyalty. You begin to rise, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. God often allows the deepest pain to precede the greatest promotion. It's in the wilderness that you are prepared for the promise. It's in the storm that your foundation is tested and strengthened. And it's in betrayal that your character is refined and your purpose revealed. Every tear you've cried, every moment you've felt abandoned and broken, it's all part of a greater design, not to destroy you, but to elevate you. The same people who tried to break you will one day witness your rise. They will see the doors open for you, the favor over your life, the peace that radiates from you, and they will know that what they did only pushed you into your destiny. They meant it for harm, but God is using it for good. Their betrayal was the trigger, but your elevation is the outcome. Think about it. If they hadn't betrayed you, you might still be clinging to them. You might still be holding on to something that was never meant for you. But their actions set you free, free to grow, free to discover yourself, free to walk into the future without the weight of false loyalty or toxic connections. It hurts now, yes. It feels unbearable at times. But this pain is not wasted. It's molding you, shaping you, preparing you for a level they can't reach. You are being elevated in ways you can't yet see. Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you are becoming stronger, wiser, more grounded. And one day you'll look back at this moment, not with anger, but with gratitude, because it was the pain they gave you that became the platform for your rise. They tried to bury you, but they didn't know you were a seed. And now, because of that very betrayal, you're growing into something they can never touch, never harm, never control again. When someone close to you betrays you, the pain they inflict doesn't just wound, it burns. It sears through your heart, leaving a scar so deep that even time struggles to heal it. And in the rawness of that pain, a powerful desire rises within you, the urge to make them feel what you felt, to make them regret every moment they caused you to suffer, to show them that they didn't break you, and to watch them fall the way they made you fall. This is the gripping pull of revenge. And let's be honest, it's tempting. It feels like justice. It feels like the only thing that could balance the scales. But let me ask you, what does revenge really give you? You see, revenge may seem satisfying in the moment. The thought of making them hurt the way they hurt you can feel like the only way to find peace. But here's the truth. Revenge doesn't bring peace. It brings more pain, more weight, more chains. When you chase revenge, you carry the same poison that they used against you. You drink from the same cup of bitterness, and it slowly consumes you. Your thoughts become centered around them, your energy entangled in their actions, your peace held hostage by the desire to make it right your own way. But revenge isn't justice, it's a trap, and it keeps you bound to the very people who tried to destroy you. The more you dwell on their downfall, the less you focus on your healing. The more you crave their suffering, the more you lose yourself in the process. You deserve more than that. You deserve freedom. You deserve to be released from the grip of their betrayal. And that release doesn't come from revenge. It comes from trust. Trust in God's timing. Trust in His justice. Trust that He sees and He will act. Letting go of revenge doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're okay with what they did. It means you're strong enough to walk away from the prison of bitterness. It means you know that God's justice is far greater than anything you could ever do on your own. His ways are higher, His timing is perfect, and His ability to deal with those who harmed you is beyond anything your hands could accomplish. Think about it. How many sleepless nights have you spent replaying what happened? How much energy have you wasted thinking of what you could have said, what you should have done, how you can show them? That energy is sacred. It's your life force, and it's being stolen by people who don't deserve another second of your time. When you release the need for revenge, you reclaim that energy. You take back control. You choose peace over war. You choose healing over hate. And here's the powerful truth. God is not blind to injustice. He is not idle while you suffer. He sees the full picture, every hidden detail, every lie, every act of betrayal. And while you may not see immediate consequences, do not mistake silence for absence. God is working behind the scenes in ways you can't yet comprehend. Justice is unfolding. The timing of divine justice is not like ours. It's deliberate, it's precise, and it never fails. Trusting God's timing requires faith. Faith that your pain matters to Him, that He has not forgotten you, that the scales will be balanced. It means believing that you are not alone in your suffering, and you don't have to carry the burden of righting every wrong. That's God's role. Yours is to heal, to grow, to move forward with strength and grace. Because in the end, it's not about what they did. It's about what you do next. Will you stay trapped in their betrayal, seeking revenge that only brings more suffering? Or will you rise above it, knowing that God will handle what you cannot? Letting go of revenge isn't surrender, it's victory. It's choosing to live free, unburdened, unchained. It's trusting that justice will come not by your hand, but by the hand of a God who never forgets, never fails, and never lets injustice go unanswered. There is a power in silence that most people never understand. When you've been betrayed, when someone closest to you has torn apart your trust, spoken behind your back, and broken your heart, the first reaction is often to speak out, to defend yourself, to expose them, to make the truth known, and let the world see who they really are. That desire is natural because you've been wronged. You want justice. You want vindication. You want everyone to know that you didn't deserve what happened. But let me tell you something most people don't realize. Silence is more powerful than any spoken word. When you stay silent in the face of betrayal, you are not weak, you are not afraid, you are not surrendering, you are showing a level of control, of strength that they never expected. Betrayers thrive on chaos. They want you to react, to lash out, to lose control, because your reaction gives them something to work with, something to use against you. But when you stay silent, you deny them that power. You starve them of the drama they crave. You take away their ability to twist your words, to make you look unstable or bitter. Your silence is a mirror, and in it they are forced to see their own guilt, their own ugliness without distraction. It's not easy. Staying silent when you're hurting feels like swallowing fire. You want to scream, to tell your side, to make them feel the pain they caused. But every time you choose silence, you reclaim your dignity. You walk away with your head held high while they are left exposed by their own actions. Let the truth reveal itself. Let their conscience torment them. Let time bring everything to light. It always does. You see, words can be used to manipulate, to distort, to confuse, but silence is pure. It's undeniable. It speaks louder than anything you could ever say. When you don't defend yourself, when you don't engage in their games, people start to notice. They start to wonder why you're silent. And slowly the truth begins to surface, not because you forced it, but because the weight of their betrayal cannot stay hidden forever. Silence also gives you space to heal, to think, to rebuild. When you engage with your betrayer, you stay connected to them emotionally. You allow their poison to linger in your life, but silence cuts that cord. It allows you to step back and focus on yourself, to redirect your energy from fighting them to elevating yourself. And most importantly, silence aligns you with God's power. It shows that you trust Him to defend you, to fight your battles, to reveal the truth in His time. There is something sacred about suffering in silence, because God hears what others do not. He sees the restraint it takes to stay silent. He knows the strength it requires to walk away without a word, and He honors it. Let them talk. Let them twist the story. Let them feel victorious. For now, your silence is not defeat, it's preparation. Because while they speak, while they lie, you are growing, you are rising. And one day, your life, your peace, your success will speak louder than anything you could have ever said. They will hear your silence in the blessings that follow you, in the peace they can't disrupt, in the favor they cannot touch. So hold your tongue, guard your peace. Let your silence be a weapon they never saw coming. And know deep in your soul that those who betray you will face their own noise inside their hearts, in their lives, and in their minds. And your silence, it will echo louder than any words ever could. You know the pain of being wronged in silence, of suffering behind closed doors while the world carries on, unaware of the storm raging inside you. You've cried in secret, fought battles in your mind, and endured sleepless nights haunted by questions that may never be answered. You've walked through crowds with a smile on your face while your heart was breaking, and not a soul around you could see the depth of your hurt. The betrayal you experienced wasn't just private, it was isolating. And in that isolation, you felt invisible, forgotten, left to pick up the shattered pieces on your own. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, is that while they were moving on, seemingly untouched by what they did, your healing had already begun. Quietly, gently, in the stillness of your brokenness, God was at work. You may not have seen the progress at first. You may have felt stuck in the same pain, the same questions, the same heaviness, but slowly, without noise or attention, your soul began to mend. Each tear watered the ground of your growth. Each silent prayer was heard, and in that private place of pain, a transformation was taking place. Now, here's the part they never saw coming. While you were healing in private, they were setting themselves up for public regret. The very people who hurt you, who betrayed you without remorse, who walked away like you were disposable, they will not be able to hide from what they did. They may have escaped judgment in the eyes of people for a time, but no one escapes the judgment of truth forever. The consequences of betrayal have a way of surfacing at the most unexpected times in the most undeniable ways. And when it happens, it won't be hidden. Their regret will not be a quiet whisper. It will be a loud reckoning. It will come in moments they least expect, when the weight of their choices crashes down and shatters the illusion they built. It will come when they see you rise, when they realize that what they tried to destroy only made you stronger. And the same people they tried to impress, the same ones they wanted to fool, will witness the truth unfold, not because you exposed it, not because you fought to make it known, but because God will allow their regret to be seen by the very world they tried to deceive. There's a reason your healing is private. It's sacred. It's meant to be between you and God, without interference, without judgment, without the noise of the world. It's in that privacy that you find peace, not revenge, not bitterness, but true, unshakable peace. You no longer need them to acknowledge your pain. You no longer need validation from the people who hurt you, because your healing isn't about them. It's about you reclaiming your life, your joy, your purpose. But their regret, that's different. That's not about peace. That's about reckoning. That's about accountability. And it will come not as punishment, but as a mirror they can no longer avoid. They will see your life, your strength, your glow, and they will remember. Every lie, every betrayal, every time they laughed while you cried, it will come back to them, and in that moment, regret will swallow them whole, not in private, not in silence, but in the full view of the world. So while you continue to heal, to grow, to find your way back to yourself, know that justice is already in motion. You don't need to fight for it. You don't need to chase it. God is already writing your story, and the ending will leave no doubt about who you are and what you overcame. Your healing will remain sacred. Their regret will be their lesson, and it will be loud. It will be public, and it will be undeniable. Betrayal by someone closest to you is a wound that cuts deeper than words can ever express. It shakes the very ground beneath your feet, leaving you in a storm of confusion, heartbreak, and anguish. But within that storm, something greater is unfolding. Your pain is not wasted. Your tears are not unseen. What was meant to destroy you is being used to rebuild you, not into who you were, but into someone stronger, wiser, and untouchable by the ones who tried to break you. You don't have to fight for revenge. You don't need to scream your truth to the world. Your silence, your growth, your unwavering trust in God, these are your weapons, and they are powerful beyond measure. The ones who betrayed you will face their reckoning, not through your hands, but through the undeniable justice of God. Their regret will come, and it will be heavy. It will be seen, just as your healing will be felt, not by them, but by you, in the peace that now surrounds your life. So lift your head. Walk forward. The betrayal that was meant to break you has become the foundation for your rise. And those who hurt you will live to see it. Their regret will be their burden. Your freedom is already